Hey guys, welcome to episode 23 of Crash Nitro Kart. Last we left off, we basically started cleaning up Fenomena with the C&K tokens and relic races. Let's finish that up with Thunderstruck. And while this is going on, I feel it's time I discuss something. Why I'm not keeping up with the Capcom Pro Tour this year for Street Fighter V. But first, something I need to finish up with the whole Go 1 Meta RD issue from last video. Anyway. Initially, after a small discussion, I was thinking, okay, Cabo is in the wrong and should at least be suspended from tournaments for a while because I do not condone distracting other players, regardless of how you do it or whether or not it was on purpose. However, I did recently get more information from Chris Tatarian and the guys at the Gauntlet from their recent episode. Major shout out to them, by the way. They are amazing and frickin' hilarious. Anyway. People were blowing things slightly out of proportion, and they're speculating, and this is definitely a possibility, it's because Go1 is a Japanese player. A really good player, mind you, but still, it's probably because he was Japanese. That's their speculation, and it does make a lot of sense. Because I guarantee you, if someone like a US player, say Snake Eyes or PR Balrog were to say it, they wouldn't have been so eager to jump on the bandwagon, as it were. Anyway. Cabo was being loud, yes, but he was not with the players. He was with the audience like he should have been. And Tatarian would know. He was at NCR when the whole thing went down off stream. That brings up something I'll talk about later. Anyway, another issue just like that happened again at the same tournament later on. I forget all the details, but what I do know is after that happened twice, even Mena had to say something. And Cabo did state he will tone down the yelling for future events. And here's my final take on this. It's good to know that he knows and understands that he was in the wrong on the situation. It's okay to be hyped. It's not okay to get obnoxiously loud to the point of distracting people. So, I say, if he says he'll do it, give him a chance to prove it. But if it happens again, then at the very least suspend him. Possibly ban if it absolutely has to come to that. I would hope it doesn't. But anyway, about that thing I wanted to mention. No headphones were provided for off-stream matches. Why the hell not? They were able to eagerly provide them for on-stream, but off-stream, none whatsoever. And I guarantee you, after this whole thing happened, now tournament officials are going to start cracking down on things, whether it be having more headphones available for even off-stream matches, to at least mitigate some of the issue, or to have some crowd control. But with that, C&K token get, and pretty easily I might add. But with that in mind, and with that all said, refreshing the recording. Alright, Relic Race Thunderstruck, let's go. And now time for the big thing. The exact reason I'm not keeping up with Capcom Pro Tour this year. Bit of behind the scenes info here. I love me some Smash Bros. Melee. I respect it for getting me into Smash Bros. But good God, is the balancing horrible. I'm talking in competitive play. Out of the 26 characters, you only ever see 7 at most, 99% of the time. Fox, Falco, Marv, Sheik, Jigglypuff, Peach, and occasionally Captain Falcon. Very rarely do you see anybody choosing anyone else. Anyway, with that aside, just seeing a small handful of characters and nothing else makes tournaments boring as hell to watch. I'm sorry. And I have a bad feeling that Street Fighter V, in its current state with the patch as it is now, is going to be a very similar thing. For those wondering my opinion, I consider Cammy busted and Guile borderline. And it's to a point where, if you don't play these certain characters, chances are you're going to lose. And that's the same thing in Melee. If you don't play one of those 7 characters I mentioned earlier, you really don't have much of a chance. And that's just bad balancing. Put it to you this way. Daigo can't play Ryu. Emoji and Chris Tatarian can't play Ken. Snake Eyes and Itazan can't play Zangief. Alex Myers might possibly be able to play soccer right now, but with Kemi being so busted, why would he? And Mena RD is talking about completely dropping Birdie as of now. Yeah, that just goes to show you that balancing is absolutely terrible right now. When character loyalty is impossible, unless your character is a meta pick, that is a huge problem when it comes to balancing, if you want my honest opinion. Meanwhile, in Ultra Street Fighter 4, every character had at least one person maining them. Yes, even Din and DJ. Hell, we saw Kita Senju playing DJ at frickin' Topanga in 2015. That just goes to show you balancing in Ultra Street Fighter 4, although not entirely perfect, was a really tight balance. Anyway, with that aside, I just feel like SF5 is going to turn into a melee situation where it's just these certain characters. And that is actually faster than my Team Cortex run. Holy shit, that's amazing. Right. I'll be right back. Alright, Thunderstruck cleared, and now on to the last thing in Fenomena. The Crystal Challenge, which I believe is over here, actually. Yep, this one right here, Desert Storm. I see what you did there. And yet, despite being called Desert Storm, we're in a clock tower. Makes perfect sense to me. Anyway, this is when the Crystal Challenges become pathetic. I mean, they always were, but... except for... oh, what was it? Frozen Frenzy? That's the only remotely tricky one. The rest of them are easy, but... yeah, the only reason this one could be considered slightly tricky is because you might think to actually go along the outer edges, but you never need to. Yeah, I rest my case. This was pathetic. But with that, once again, back to Vila's Citadel with us. And proof of concept? Fenomena is now cleared out. And so with that, next time on Crash Nitro Kart, we're going to be starting up the fourth and final main world, Techni. Later, guys.